today's topic is a very important one, which is mastering the art of PM interviews. Okay. Understand that interviews are one of the most important, or let's say most high leverage events, most high ROI events in your career. So today I'm going to tell you how to crack a product management interview, no matter what level are you talking about, because basics remains the same. Okay. With that being said, this is going to be our agenda for today. First of all, we are going to talk about intro to PM interviews, which is what does the job of a PM looks like? What are the skills that a PM needs to have? And then I'll map the PM job and the skills to specific kind of interview questions. And I'll tell you what the interview structure looks like in most of the companies. After that, we are going to talk about the types of questions. And I'll also give you a format to answer most of these questions. The first is product sense interviews, product sense question. Then we'll talk about metrics questions. Then we'll talk about root cause analysis questions. Then we'll talk about strategy questions. Then we'll talk about behavioral questions. And then eventually we'll talk about one of the most important parts, which is technical questions. So there are many people in the session today who are coming from non-tech backgrounds. Still, they could be asked technical questions as well. Okay. So we will make sure that you are, even if you are from technical background, how can you prepare for technical rounds as well? Okay. And then eventually we will talk about how to practice. Understand, all of this is useless if you do not know how to practice. If you do not practice, all of this is useless. Okay. So now let me go ahead and start formally with the session. Okay. Yes. So before I could start with the session, let me just go ahead and tell you what does product management looks like. Okay. Before I could talk about interview, I have to tell you some basic concepts of product management so that everyone is on the same page. Yes. So what happens in product management is that you have a business team where they are going to give you some kind of strategy or some kind of suggestions. This could be called as a business strategy. Okay. Or they can give you some kind of goals. Similarly, you will have other internal stakeholders. Internal stakeholders such as your engineers, your designers, your salespeople, your marketing people, your customer support people can also give you ideas. Sometimes the best ideas come from people who are actually facing the customers, such as sales, marketing, customer support teams. They can also give you a lot of ideas. Similarly, your partners. There are many companies who are operating in the partner ecosystem. For example, the National Payment Corporation of India, NPCI, is working with multiple banks, multiple providers such as PhonePe, Paytm, and they can also give them certain kind of ideas in order to improve their products. Okay. And over and above this, we also have a lot of data. So by understanding the data, you can also identify gaps in the user flows. You can understand the user problems, user desires, and then you can go ahead and try to articulate them as some opportunities. Okay. So by collecting all of these things, you will have a list of opportunities. Okay. These are the opportunities to improve your product and to take your business forward and to solve the problems in the life of your customers. You as a product manager are also connected to the customers. You have a brain of your own. So you are also going to suggest a lot of ideas. Okay. Plus, you also do market research. Market research from competitors, from similar players, dissimilar players, direct, indirect competitors, you are going to also consider. Okay. Now we have gone ahead and collected a lot of opportunities. But understand that all the opportunities are not worth pursuing because every company is limited by time, resources, and you have to be very pragmatic about your time and resources. Okay. So now what we'll do is, because all opportunities are not good, we are going to validate the opportunities. How do we validate? Again, we validate with the same thing. We either look at data, we do the user research, we do the market research, we run some kind of experiments in order to understand whether the opportunities are good enough or not. And understand, we do not validate every opportunity with the same rigor. Some opportunities are very obvious, and some opportunities might need some kind of validation. Okay. After this, The opportunities which are not validated are going to go in the dustbin, which is no. And some opportunities which are validated, yes. So the opportunities which are not validated are going to end up in the dustbin, while other opportunities are going to be prioritized further. Validation can be considered as filtering, which ideas to consider, which ideas not to consider. And prioritization is about whatever you have on your plan. Which are you going to do first? What are you going to do later? Okay. There are multiple frameworks for prioritization. One of the popular framework is RICE, another is Kano, another is Moscow. But I'll give you resources at the end of the session so that you can understand basics about it. And also a very impactful framework called as impact versus effort. A simple framework and useful for almost more than 90% scenarios in the interview context. Okay. So now you do prioritization. After doing prioritization and everything and validation and collecting the ideas, now you have the next step. The next step is everything will come together to form a product roadmap. What is a product roadmap? Product roadmap is a high level depiction of what you are going to build in the coming time, or what are the problems that you are going to solve in the coming times. It is a prioritized list of opportunities, problems, or solutions that you have. Okay, this is a high level document. But if you have been a product manager, you will understand that high level things do not work. You might be very clear in your mind, but you need to give the clarity to your teams. So you are going to further break down this product roadmap. You are going to define each and every item in the product roadmap, and then you are going to transform this into something called as product backlog. So product roadmap is a high level document or a strategic document, while product backlog is a low level, more detailed, and a tactical document. Okay. Everyone tell me yes or no in the chat if everything is understood to you right now. Everyone, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yes. Now that we are on the same page right now, so now we have created a product backlog. Now understand product backlog could also be a very long document. It's not possible for you to take every task in the product backlog and do it at once. So what you will do is you have to give clarity to your team. How do you give clarity to your team? Just give me one moment, guys. So how do you give clarity to your team? You will just go ahead. Yes. So what you will do is you will further break down the product backlog into small parts. Let's say the product backlog is for 3 months, but planning and executing straight away for 3 months is not good. Okay. So what you will do is you will take this product backlog, divide it into weeks. Okay. And then whatever is you are going to do for the next 2 or 4 weeks, you are going to call it a sprint backlog. So we divide this big amount of work into small chunks, which can be done in the next couple of weeks or maybe 4 weeks. So 2 to 4 weeks is the length of a sprint. So what is a sprint? A sprint is a time pre-decided by a team where they are going to pick few tasks which are important for the product. Then they are going to work upon them and release them at the end of the cycle. This is to make sure that the work is very, very manageable. Okay. Now we have done this. Okay. What we'll do is in this, we have a sprint backlog. We are going to release something. And here the major stakeholders are developers, designers, or maybe other people based on what is the kind of product that you are building. Okay. Once you have done this, once the product has been created, you will go ahead and work with the here testing team is also one of the stakeholders. Now you are going to take the product in the market. So you will work on go to market strategy. Here your major players are in the launch or go to market strategy. Your major stakeholders are sales and marketing, customer support also, because they are going to help you how to address, you are going to help them to understand how to address the common queries and what to do if a customer asks the question. And once it is done, you are going to ship the product to the user. Now the product is in the hands of the user. Now the user will also go ahead and give you a lot of feedback, questions, recommendations, and then again the whole cycle is going to repeat. Then again the whole cycle is going to repeat. Okay, so what we did, we started here from a company mission vision. This is what the business has suggested. This is an opportunity that the founder or the company has found. Now you collect ideas from multiple places. You validate the idea, you prioritize the ideas, then you put it together in a high level strategic document called as a product roadmap. Then you put it together in a product backlog, much detailed document. Then you go ahead and break them down into sprint backlog so that people are able to do them. And then you are going to work with the marketing and sales team in order to develop the product. And eventually you are going to develop it, give it to the users. Users are going to use it. And then you are going to, the users are again going to give you the feedback. And along with every other feedback, you are going to consider this. And again, the cycle is going to repeat. Understand, many managers make a mistake that they generally focus till here. They don't focus on taking the product out in the market and making sure that the product is successful. Understand, your job is half done till here. Okay, so this is a quick 101 on product management. Okay, this particular part, this particular part is called as product discovery. You understand the business, you understand the customers, you understand the market, you understand the data in order to create a roadmap that this is what we need to do in order to identify the right ideas and opportunities. The second part is here you work with the internal stakeholders in order to build the product, create the product. This is called as product delivery or development or design. Okay. And then eventually, here when you take the product out in the market, when you take the product out in the market, this part is called as product distribution. Okay. So this is product management 101. This is going to be the fundamental on which we are going to talk about preparing for the interview. Okay. Everyone, a quick yes or no in the chat if you are able to understand this. Tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 if you are able to understand this. Everyone, on a scale of 1 to 5 if you are able to understand this. Yes. Yes. User is involved. Understand, guys, although I was not able to, let's say, yes. Yes. Although it might not be clear in the diagram, but user is involved all across. If you are not talking to users at every cycle of the product management life cycle, then you are doing something wrong. Okay, so this is the basics of product management. Now let me go ahead and give you, so this diagram is also the same. I know my handwriting is not very good. So this is the diagram that I have created for you so that you guys can see a more structured diagram. Now, if you observe carefully, Then for each of these parts, in each of these parts, we have gone ahead and created, in each of these parts, we have gone ahead and done and implemented some kind of product management skills. Okay. So let's say when you get ideas, you need to have the skills of user research and market research. Without having the skills of user research and market research, you'll not be able to have great ideas because you'll not be able to understand the right problems. Second is stakeholder management. Now, here also you are collaborating with a lot of people, a lot of conflicting ideas would be there. How do you make sure that you are letting the best ideas win? Okay. And the third part is you need a lot of creativity and problem solving. Because if you are not creative, if you cannot think out of the box, if you are not able to solve problems within the limited resources, you will not be able to discover the right kind of ideas and operate as a good product manager. Okay, so three skills that you need in the discovery phase: user research, market research, stakeholder management, creativity and problem solving. Over and above this, you also need analytics because once the users start using your product, they are going to go ahead and generate a lot of data. How do you convert this data in the form of insights is also something that you have to learn as a product manager. So defining the right metrics, measuring those metrics, taking decisions based on that metric is also something that a product manager should know. And then eventually, you also need how to do prioritization. Prioritization is a very, very critical skill for any product manager. If you're not able to do prioritization, then generally you'll be all over the place. Okay. After this, you need execution power. Execution power is it's one thing to discover all the ideas, but it's another thing to work with people in order to get them executed. So you should know how to execute the ideas. Okay. Then, because you need to collaborate with developers, because you need to make sure that your salespeople are also able to understand why or why not something is feasible or not, you need to have a good understanding of tech. I'm not saying that you should be knowing how to code and you should be knowing, let's say, the best amount of tech, but at least you should be understanding the basics of tech so that you can be confident along with your while talking to your stakeholders. Okay. And then you need to again have a lot of stakeholder management abilities to work with testers, to work with sales and marketing team, to work with legal team, to work with all the other teams that are involved. Okay. Now, in validation and research also, all of these skills are applicable. You should be able to know how to do user research, how to do hypothesis testing, how to make sure that you are able to do stakeholder management, market research, validation of ideas, data experimentation. All of these skills you need to have. Okay. So understand, if you want to become a product manager, these are the skills that you need to possess. And I have also shown you the reason why these skills are going to be important to you because they are critical part of any product development lifecycle. Okay. Now, some people have posted a question in the chat that does it remains the same for B2B as well? Yes, guys. The same flow remains for B2B as well. In B2B, generally what happens is that users are the leaders or drivers of your roadmap. Because in B2B, users are generally sophisticated. They know what they want. So they are going to tell you to build it. You are going to a bit validate it and then you are going to build it. Okay. But in B2C scenarios, such as Facebook and Instagram, users might not know what they want. So you have to conduct a lot of A/B testing, experimentation, rely on a lot of data in order to take the decisions. Okay, so this is PM 101, and this is how the multiple skills are required. Okay, yes. Everyone, tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 if you are able to understand these skills. Yes. Now what I'll do is I have planned the session in such a way that not only I'll tell you that these are the questions that could be asked, but I'll also tell you that this is the reason why they are being asked. And I'll map it to the skills. Now you know why these skills are important. After that, I'll map these skills to the right kind of questions. Because many people think that most of the product management questions are useless. They are not useless. It's just because you do not have a good understanding of PDLC. That's why beginner people find that yes, the product management questions are just completed out of thin air. Okay. By PDLC, I mean product development lifecycle. Yes. Now let's go ahead and go to the next part. Yes. Now let us talk about what the interview structure looks like. Okay. In an interview, generally this happens. Understand, I'm not giving you a rule that this will happen with every interview. I'm just giving you what happens very commonly. Okay. So either you have to apply to a job, or sometimes the HR or the hiring manager is going to reach out to you on LinkedIn or on email. The second thing is getting rarer these days, so you have to be proactive in order to apply. But in 2020, 2022, it was very, very common. The second part is there will be an HR screening round where they will understand that whether your profile is, let's say, fit at the introduction level or not. Okay. After that, sometimes if it's a junior role, they might give you take home assignment. Generally, we have found this in the junior role, but these days, because of so much, let's say, population applying for product manager roles, we have also seen this in the senior roles as well. So you might or might not get a take home assignment. Then, generally, the first round occurs, and in the first initial rounds, people generally have a combination of product sense and other combination of questions that I'm going to tell you in just a moment. After that, they also check for technical acumen, whether you can work better with the engineers, whether you have that mind to understand and curiosity to understand technology or not. And then eventually, behavioral, there are going to be some behavioral questions where they will understand your personality, how good of a stakeholder manager you are. And then eventually, you are going to do some negotiation, and eventually, you are going to get an offer. Okay, this is the general idea, general flow that is followed across the interviews. Okay, some interviews might be here and there, but most of the time, this is what is being followed. Now, tell me yes or no in the chat if you are able to understand. Tell me yes or no in the chat if you are able to understand this image. Can anyone tell me in the chat what is happening in this image? Come on, folks, take a couple of minutes and tell me what is happening in this image. Yes. So we have seen this multiple times. Okay. Let's say someone calls, they want to become a product manager. And when we ask them, why do you want to become a product manager? And generally they give an answer from their perspective that I am very passionate about it. And that's why you should go ahead and give me an opportunity. But understand, guys, these words matter almost nothing to a company, at least for most of the company. What people are looking for is how you are the right fit for the role. For this particular role, we need these many skills from a candidate. Now, can you tell me whether you have these skills or not? Or how can I validate if you have these skills? Okay, so passion means almost nothing unless you have something to show for it. Okay, now that is why interviews were invented, to make sure that people don't have to convince you with the passion. You are able to formulate some kind of question that will help people assess their skills, and then you are able to understand whether I should go ahead and hire this particular person or not. Okay, and in product management, in order to understand these skills, we have multiple kind of questions. Okay, in product management, in order to assess all these skills that I've told you, there are multiple kind of questions that are asked. Most popular question is product sense question, and sometimes product sense question is also a combination of all of these as well. They will ask you in such a way that one question is going to contain each and everything as a part of itself. The second kind of questions are metric questions. In metric questions, you can also go ahead and in metrics question you can also go ahead and involve guesstimates. Then root cause analysis, strategy questions, behavioral questions, and technical questions. Product sense questions, an example is how would you go ahead and improve Google Maps? How would you create a refrigerator for blind people? These are questions that I'm sure that multiple of you might have heard, which is an example of product sense questions. The second is metrics. Because whenever you are launching the product, you need to make sure that you know how to gauge the progress or deprogress of this particular product so that you can be objective, you can be data oriented, you could be data driven. That is why metrics are essential. Sometimes people can also ask you the question that if this metric is down, then what could be the reason that it is down? Or maybe they can give you a particular situation and they will ask you to understand the root cause of that particular situation. Okay. Similarly, there are strategy questions. Strategy questions are generally asked at the seniority level, where they are going to ask you the questions as in how will you go ahead and whether Google should enter into this particular, how would you assess if Google should enter into this particular territory or this company should acquire that company? Okay. Or how should a particular company be able to get profitable as soon as possible? And then we have behavioral questions, which are mostly around your personality and your work ethics and your style, which is tell me about yourself. What is the situation that you have faced when you tell me a challenging situation that you have faced? Okay. And then there are technical questions. Technical questions, no matter you are a technical person or non technical person, in product management, you need to have some basic understanding of tech that is being assessed in the technical interview rounds. Okay. People tell me in the chat if you have faced these questions, which is the most common question that you have faced in your interviews. People, I'm sure there are some people who have given some interviews. Tell me in the chat what are the most common questions that you have faced in the interviews. Metrics, product sense. What's your favorite product? RCA, strategy, product sense, behavioral, product sense, strategy. Yes, good. Now, I will go through these questions one by one. I will tell you the example of these questions. I will tell you why these questions are asked. And then I'll also give you a structure and maybe an example of how you can go ahead and answer these questions. Okay, understand, guys? I am giving you one of the examples. I'm not telling you that this is the only way to answer these questions. You have to, in the end, forget about frameworks and do the solving on your first principle level skills. But I am going to suggest you some frameworks. Okay, so let us go ahead. Yes. So, yes, before that, this is the most important slide. Okay, listen to this carefully, guys. No matter what kind of interview that you are giving in product management, apart from the skills that I've already told you, these are the four things that you are being assessed for. Okay, so the fundamental interview skills are these four. The number one is thinking on the feet. No matter how much you practice, the purpose of the interviewer is to make sure that they are able to understand how much are you able to think on the feet. So rather than telling you that what is your favorite product and how would you improve it, they can also tell you that tell me the five favorite product, and then they can choose one product and then they will tell you to go ahead and improve that product. Okay. So their purpose is to challenge you because they are thinking, because they want to understand whether you can think on the feet or not. Okay. So no matter how much questions and database that you fit in your mind, you should always be ready for thinking on your feet. You have to develop your mental muscle rather than your memory. Okay. So you have to develop your mental muscle and not your memory. Memory can help you sometimes, but strong mental muscle will always help you. Okay, because the purpose of a PM is to convert the vague situation into a clear situation. Okay, after this, we have awareness of PDLC. PDLC means product development lifecycle. Okay, although I have tried to give you a 101 on product management, but it was very high level. Unless you are very sure that you do not know product management, I would ask you to prepare better in the interview. Okay. So if you're not aware about how the product management happens, please go ahead and build that knowledge. Before building that knowledge, you are just wasting an interview opportunity. Okay. After that, pattern recognition. Now you have to also understand patterns. I'll give you a list of 2000 plus questions in product management which are asked in top companies in product management interviews. But you cannot learn about each and every question. You need to understand how to recognize the patterns, how to categorize all of these things into different buckets, and then create your level of, let's say, frameworks or structures for answering these questions. Okay. And the last part is communication. Last and the most important part. Understand, guys, that in tech, in design, in marketing, in operations, it is possible that if your communication skills are not so good, still you can operate because hard skills matters the most. But in product management, because you are the glue between multiple teams, you are the major stakeholder manager of the company and the product, you need to have good communication skills. Okay, the good part is we are not only talking about about oral communication skills. If your written communication skills are very good, then also you can operate. And also understand communication is not something that anyone is born with. Okay, I can give you some content. If you apply that content, if you apply that learning for around 2 3 months, I am sure your communication skills are going to be at the different level altogether. Okay, you just be willing to learn. Okay, so four things, four fundamental interview skills: thinking on the feet, awareness of PDLC, pattern recognition, and communication. So, folks, it might happen that I am telling you something, and the interviewer might ask you something out of the world or out of the context that I'm telling you. And still, you should be able to answer it. Why? Because your understanding of product management is very solid. You are able to think on feet. You can do the pattern recognition, and then you can communicate really, really well. Okay, so these are the four skills that you need in order to these are the four skills that you need in order to crack the PM interviews. Okay. Thinking on the feet generally means that you should be able to go ahead. Yes. Thinking on the feet means that you should be able to go ahead and think about the situation at any given point of time. Even if the data is not given to you, even if the context is not given to you, how do you go ahead and do this? Yes. Come on. Everyone, a quick yes or no if we are on the same page right now. A quick yes or no if you are on the same page right now. Cool. So a lot of people have been asking about slides. So guys, the slides of this session plus the slides of this session plus the recording of the session, and there are multiple resources that I have created. They will be sent to you once you remain till the end of the session and you submit the feedback form. In the end, I'm going to share a feedback form. And once you submit the feedback form, all of that content would be sent to you as soon as possible. Okay, so recording would be available, slides would be available, all the notes that I'm creating, and I have also created multiple other resources for you that would also be available for you. Okay, yes. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the first kind of questions. These are called as either these are called as product design questions, also called as product sense questions, sometimes also called as product thinking questions. Okay, and these questions are of this particular type. Questions such as, how would you design an airport ATM? This was asked in Stripe in 2024, last year. How would you improve LinkedIn for job seekers? Asked in Google 2024. Your favorite product and how would you improve it? Very, very common question asked in almost every company. Build a parking solution as Google Maps PM. Build an app for theme park in Bay Area. Meta 2024. Okay, these are similar kind of questions. I'm sure people are aware about these kind of questions. Okay, these questions are very popular and very common because they understand if you can operate as a PM or not, if you can think from the user perspective or not, if you can balance between the user and the business needs or not, whether you know about execution or not. Okay, these are one of the most important kind of questions, and a general pattern that is there to answer these questions is, first of all, there are multiple frameworks. One framework is steps framework, another framework is circles framework, another framework is design thinking framework, another framework is the double diamond framework. Okay. But let me tell you, you don't need to go ahead and learn or memorize any of these frameworks. If you just go ahead and follow things by first principles and logics. Okay. Understand, understand the fundamental law of product management. The fundamental law of product management is that every business in the world makes money by giving something of value to the customer. And in return, the customer returns that value with either money or with attention. If you go ahead and buy something on Zomato, if you go ahead and buy something on Amazon, you will find something of value, some item that you want to buy, or you are hungry, you are buying food, and in return, you are going to give them money. If Facebook gives you good content, Instagram gives you good content, LinkedIn gives you good content, you are going to browse more of their content, and then you are going to give them attention, and then they are going to cash that attention with advertisers' money. Okay, so business exists because they provide value to the customer. Okay, now how do they provide value to the customer? Value means that there is some problem or some desire in the life of the user. There is some problem or desire in the life of the user, and you have to create a distinguished solution for the same or a better solution for the same as compared to your competitors. If this is true, then your customer is going to go ahead and acknowledge this value, and then they are going to give you money or attention. This is the fundamental law for any business to operate. You give value to the customers by understanding their problems and desires, and then they are going to reciprocate it with money and attention. This equation means that the most important stakeholder in any business is the user or the customer, right? And the user and the customer is also the most important stakeholder for the product manager. Product manager are also called as the voice of the customers. Okay, so now what happens? Now, when you approach any question as a product manager, you need to understand that there are two parties that you need to make happy. The first party is the business because they are eventually going to give you money to do all of this stuff. And the second party is the user. You have to understand the users, you have to understand their problems, you have to create solutions for them, and then eventually you have to work with your team, developers, designers, marketing, and sales in order to take the product to the users and make it successful. Okay, this is the fundamental of product management. If you follow this simple framework of being user centric, you should be able to solve the product design questions. Okay, how? This is the format that I recommend. Okay, very simple to follow. And if you observe the circles framework, if you observe the pursuit framework, if you observe the design thinking framework, product thinking framework, steps framework, everyone is actually saying the same thing. That thing is, whenever someone asks you a question, make sure first of all you understand the question really, really well. If you do not understand the question well, there is no point of answering the question. In one of the interviews at Microsoft, the interviewer asked the candidate that how would you create the most high-tech airport in the world? And without even listening the next line, the interviewee has gone ahead and created templates and wireframes and everything that how he's going to do it. And then the person said in the end that you did not listen to the whole question. The whole question was that how would you go ahead and create the most high-tech airport in the world when you only have the area of 10,000 square feet? Okay, so make sure that you understand the whole context really, really well. If you do not understand, if you and the interviewer are not on the same page, it's useless to solve the problems. Okay, and that is a problem as a product manager, right? So first thing is understand the goals. First, you clarify all the questions. You and the interviewer are also on the same page. Understand, guys? We do not ask clarifying questions to get the answers. We ask the clarifying questions to make sure that we and the interviewer are on the same page. we are able to set the scope correctly. Okay, because a product manager has to convert a ambiguous situation into a clear situation by asking the right questions. Okay, if you do not ask clarification questions, it's a straight away no. Now, after you have done this part, after you have asked a clarification question, the first thing that you need to understand is what is the goal? What is the goal of this improvement? Is it more number of users? Is it more number of revenue? Is it more market share? And try to understand the company goal behind this. If they do not tell you the company goal, you can assume one and you can tell them. Okay. Be very clear and very vocal about your assumptions. The second part is users. Understand who are the different kind of users who are going to be your stakeholders in this product. If you talk about Google Maps, then people who are gig workers, people who are delivery boys in Swiggy or delivery girls in Swiggy, people who are Uber drivers who are using Google Maps, or people like us who are using it for daily commute, or people like travelers who are using it, the Google Maps when they are in the other cities. These could be different kind of users. Okay. After understanding the users, you have to understand their problems and desires. What are the problems and desires that these people have? This is the most important step. How do you understand the problems and desires? By putting yourself in their shoes. If you are in an interview, you have to think hard. You have to understand if you were the user in that situation, what are the things that you're going to do? Okay, you have to map the complete user journey that this is what I'm going to do after this particular step if I was the user. Okay, and that is how you understand the problems. So create the user journey, break it down into steps. Okay, in the end of the class, I'm also going to give you a framework called as jobs to be done, which will help you become better at finding the core user needs and problems. Okay, now after you have understood the problems, you are going to pick few problems which are important, and then you are going to create the solutions or the features. Okay, that this is what we are going to build in order to solve this problem, and then you can prioritize. And after that, in the end, you are going to put some metrics. Metrics as in, how would you know if this is actually a product that is going to solve the needs that you have got from here? Okay, so in the end, what we'll do is the metrics are going to be attached to the goals again. Okay, so this is the simplest format that you can use based on first principles in order to solve almost any kind of product design questions. Okay, before I could ask you if you could understand or not, I'll repeat it again. First of all, ask clarification questions to be on the same page as an interviewer to fix the scope. Understand you are not asking the clarification questions to get the answers, but to make sure that you are going in the right direction. The second part is understand the goals or assume the goals and tell it to the interviewer. Create the users, understand their problems, identify the solutions, and then the metrics. In between, you have to do prioritization both the times. And then make sure that you summarize. So whenever you are in an interview, please follow this structure. The interviewer asks you the question. You are going to ask clarification questions. After the clarification questions, you go ahead, take some moment, and then you go ahead, take some moment, and you go ahead and give them a structure. That boss, this is the structure that I'm going to follow in order to come up with the solution. Okay. Then you get their agreement. You tell them the whole solution. After that, you again summarize to make sure that you and the interviewer are on the same page. Understand? Most of the time, interviewers are also not very interested. So you have to also go ahead and grab their attention again and again and make sure that you are not missing out on any important thing. They are not missing out on any important thing. Okay. Everyone, tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 if you are able to understand this. Yes. Now let us go ahead and consider an example. Okay. So I have a question for everyone. How would you design an e-learning platform for corporates? Okay. Take 2 minutes to think about this and then tell me in the chat. How would you design an e-learning platform for corporate? Tell me, guys, how would you approach this? Cool. Yes. Cool. I could see multiple things. What is the type of corporate, web or mobile? Is it an existing platform or it's a new platform? A lot of people have asked multiple questions, right? Yes. Somebody has asked head count. Cool. And many people are also playing the favorite sport. Do you guys know what is the favorite sport of our country or whatever country that you are from? Can you guys tell me what is the favorite sport of your country? It's the same. It's the same. Everyone who is, no matter which country are you from, it's the same for every country. Yes, the favorite sport of our country, our countries, is the one that you just did. Most of the people just did in the chat, which is jumping to conclusions. What we have done is many people have gone ahead and talked about that this is for what kind of users, this and that. Okay. But before doing all of these things, you have to understand what you are trying to do. You have to understand, ask the clarification question, understand what is it that you are trying to do. Okay. So I'll tell you what is, yes. So I'll tell you what is the, yes. What is a bad answer for this question? Okay. The bad answer, although in this session, because I've already told you the framework right now, so you guys would be not giving the bad answer. But I know that in the situation when you are asked this question, the most obvious response is this, which is I would design a website where companies can upload training videos for their employees. It would have user accounts, a way to match videos would be add some quizzes too, would look nice and professional. This is the most common answer that people are going to give, and it's a bad answer. And understand, guys, eventually, in the good answer and outstanding answer, this could be the solution. But you do not have to jump to solution without understanding the context. Okay. Now, what could be the good answer? The good answer could be you clarify the problems and goals. Okay, what is the audience that you are targeting? These kind of things. Then you understand who are the key stakeholders. HR, employees, content creators, who are the stakeholders? After that, you understand their problems. And once you understand their problems, then you create the core features. User management, course creation, progress tracking, assessment. There are so many things in an LMS. Okay. But they should follow the users and their problems. After that, You understand the key requirements, which is in terms of technology, let's say scalability, security, integration. Is it an MVP? It's a bigger product, these kind of things. And then discuss the potential challenges. What could be the challenges that can come? And eventually, you are going to talk about some success metrics. Okay, this makes sure that you are thinking about a product from end to end rather than putting out whatever is in your mind at the top of your mind. Okay, and an outstanding answer could be an outstanding answer could be it is as detailed as a good answer, but you are adding more depth and you are proactively identifying the risks and how do you make sure that you are making the trade off. And prioritization is also very clear in an outstanding answer. Okay, so if you just avoid giving the first answer that comes to your mind, most of the time you are going to give a better answer. A quick yes or no, everyone, in the chat if you are able to understand this. Yes. So I'll go ahead and tell you. Okay, so this slide I'll share with you so that you can read it. But guys, understand in product management, structure is very important. Why? Because structure determines your ability to communicate clearly. Understand in the end, in this answer and this answer also, the eventual solution is this only that quizzes, videos, and these kind of things. But eventually, how do you approach building a product is more important than what you build. Okay, so let me give you one more interesting thing. Okay, so always remember that your mind, okay, your mind is like a tap. Imagine there is a tap of water that is closed since multiple years. No one has turned it on. One day there is this power of supply, like the supply of water, and then you go ahead and open this tap. Can you guys tell me what will happen? The tap was closed for years, and now you go ahead and suddenly open this. What will happen? Sludge. Yes. So dirt, sludge, mud, and everything useless will come out of this. Okay. Now this is like your mind. And this concept is called as this mental model is called as creativity faucet or creativity tap. So always imagine that whenever you are brainstorming, the initial set of ideas that come to your mind might not be the best idea. So please hold your thoughts, try to collect multiple ideas, and then once you have collected multiple ideas, then go ahead and try to consider the ideas which are coming later. So rather than jumping to solutions, try to create an iterative list of solutions. Think through the idea in multiple ways, not only with solution but also with the problems. That will make sure that you are not giving very common or very obvious solutions or problems to identify. Okay, that is when you will become insightful. Most of the people are very afraid or very tired to use their minds to their full potential. If you just make this exercise that before I jump to this, I'll at least make sure that I have 3, 4, or 5 solutions. Then you'll understand that the quality of your problems are also going to get improved. Okay, so moral of the story is please don't jump to the obvious thing that comes to your mind. Put some brain to it. Try to get the best ideas. Your mind has that potential. right? A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand the concept of the creativity faucet. Yes. Very cool. Yes. Hmm. Yes. Now, guys, I'll after the session, I'll also give you a list of more questions and maybe some ideas to solve these questions as well. Okay. Now let us go ahead and move to the next type of questions, which is the metrics questions. Okay. But before discussing the metric questions, I'll give everyone a break of 5 minutes. So we'll take a quick break of 5 minutes. Go ahead, drink some water, do some stretches, and then come back. Please get up from your chair if you are on one. So quick break of 5 minutes, and then we'll come back. Hello everyone, welcome back. A quick I am back in the chat if you are back. Tell me I am back in the chat if you are back. Everyone, yes. Cool, amazing. So far we have talked about the product development life cycle. I have told you what are the skills that you need in order to do well in the product management job and in the interview. Then we have discussed a brief about multiple interview questions. And then we have discussed a bit more details about the product sense questions and what are the best practices to answer these questions. Okay, let me go ahead and restart the session or resume the session. The second kind of questions are metrics questions. Okay, so metric questions are like these. As a PM Spotify podcast, define success and what metrics would you measure? Asked in Meta 2024. How would you measure the success of Google Cloud Storage? Google 2024. How would you measure the effectiveness of eBay search algorithm? eBay 2024. Okay, and similar kind of metrics, which is the pattern that you are following is there is a product, there is a feature. How would you know if this feature is actually working or not? Okay, and here the skills that they are assessing is user empathy, whether you have the empathy with the users or not, problem solving, communication, data fluency, prioritization, because you cannot measure all the metrics. You have to prioritize among these metrics as well. And then business sense. Understand, metric is something that should be connected to not only the users, but also to the business. Okay. And then, and then these are the kind of questions that are going to help other people, like your interviewer, make sure that you possess all of these skills. Okay. How to answer these questions? Let's say if I ask you the question, how would you assess the success of WhatsApp status updates? My question to everyone is, how would you assess the success of WhatsApp status updates? I'm sure everyone has seen these WhatsApp stories that comes in about 24 hours and then they go away. How would you assess the success of, how would you measure the success of WhatsApp stories? Everyone, go ahead and tell me in the chat. Take a moment. Number of views, number of clicks, adoption rate, NPS, time spent. We again played the same game, right? We again jump to conclusions. This is what it is, this is what it is, and then we again jump to the answers. Okay. Now, in these cases, also, you have to ask a clarification question so that you and the interviewer are on the same page about what they want. Okay. So, this is the pattern that you follow. This is the pattern that you follow, or the simple structure that you follow in order to ask metric questions. Okay. There are multiple frameworks that are given. One of the framework is ARR, other framework is HEART, other framework is GAME. I'll give you notes on all of these frameworks at the end of the session, but understand you just have to apply your common sense. Common sense as a product manager, because frameworks can change, but common sense should still prevail, or first principle should still prevail. Okay. Now, first thing that you need to do is ask clarification questions. Make sure that you understand the feature to be on the same page as the interviewer, to make sure that you fix the scope. After that, you have to ask or understand, build an hypothesis around why this product was created. Why was this product created? Facebook created this because they were facing a lot of challenges from Snapchat, right? On Snapchat, people were coming daily because they have to look at the stories. So now Facebook understand that we can also copy the feature because we also want daily active users. The 24-hour story becomes a reason for people to come back to WhatsApp and then keep on spending time on it every day. Okay. Then map the user journey and critical metrics. Also, here understand that this should also be tied to the business goal. Right now, WhatsApp does not make money in multiple ways, but the more number of daily active users they have, more is their potential to make revenue. Okay. After this, map the user journey and critical metrics. Super important. This is the important part. You have to understand what is the journey that the user is going to follow while using this product. They are going to open WhatsApp, they are going to put a story, then people are going to see that story. Then they are going to go ahead and watch how many people have watched the story. This is a creator of the stories. Now, people who are the consumers, they are going to open the WhatsApp, they are going to the update section, they are going to click on a story, then they are going to see stories one by one, and they can also react. Okay, you have to understand this whole journey so that you can put the right kind of metrics together. Okay, plain common sense, understanding the flow of the feature. After that, create a metric tree. What is a metric tree? Metric tree means that how these all the metrics that you have collected are converting or converging towards your main goal, which is daily active users. Okay, and then in the end, this is optional, but in many scenarios, you will get a lot of help if you also find out do not disturb or guardrail metric. Guardrail metric means that in pursuit of this daily active users, it should not mean that people are sending less messages. It should not mean that the rating of the app is down. It should not mean that the app is very buggy. Okay, so in pursuit of your main goal, these metrics should not be affected negative. Okay, so this is the guardrail metric, the things that you should take care while pursuing the bigger metric. Okay, a quick yes or no, everyone, if you are able to understand this. Everyone, a quick yes or no in the chat if you are able to understand this. DND means do not disturb. While you are doing this, make sure that this metric is not disturbed. Yes. Confusion in the do not disturb metrics, right? Cool. Okay. So I'll repeat it again. The number one thing that you need to do is this is clear. Ask clarification questions to be on the same page. After that, ask why was this product created? What is the contribution of this product for the company and also for the user? Okay. Can you guys tell me when anyone builds a referral program in their product, what is the purpose? What is the metric that they are following while building the referral program? Tell me, guys, when someone builds a referral feature, why do they want to, like, why anyone builds a referral feature? Yes. New user acquisition, right? It's not adoption, it's new user acquisition. Maybe at a better rates than other marketing methods. Okay. So that is a question that you need to ask here. Similarly, here, map the user journey and critical metrics, which is you have to create the complete user journey and understand what are the steps that people take and how you can measure every step. Okay. For example, in referral, number of views of landing page where referral is communicated. After that, how many people are clicking on the link and sharing it? Then how many people are signing up? Then how many people are completing their onboarding? These could be multiple metrics. Okay. Now create metric tree. I'm going to show you what a metric tree is. Okay. And then D&D guardrail metric. D&D means that in pursuit of this metric, a particular metric should not be affected. For example, let me create a doc because that would be a better writing. Cool. Feature success metric and D&D metric. D&D means do not disturb or guardrail. Okay. So let's say we have built a feature of referrals. Now in referrals, whenever the referral is created, we should make sure that yes, the number of users should increase, right? This is a success metric. But the D&D metric is cost to acquire a customer should not increase. This should be in check, right? Because people are coming from referral, we should pay maybe similar or less money for them. Similarly, if you are increasing, let's say you created some feature because of which you are having better ranks on the Play Store. Okay, let's say you improve the SEO of the product. SEO means that now your product is more available on the search engine, because of which number of downloads will increase. But the rating should not go down. So rating is the D&D or guardrail metric. Similarly, on Airbnb, we introduce reviews and ratings. Okay. For reviews and ratings, we make sure we are doing this to make sure that trust measured by NPS is increasing. Okay, or the customer trust is increasing. But it should not be done that the conversion rates are down. Okay, so this is the feature, example features. These are the success metrics, and these are the metrics that should not be affected. Sometimes you can also put technical metrics there, which is the loading time should not decrease, the security should not decrease, these kind of things. A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand this now. Hmm. Yes. Now, after this, let me go ahead and show you what a metric tree looks like. This is what a metric tree. So what we have done is WhatsApp was created to increase the daily active users. Every social media platform, every chat platform has one goal, which is daily active users. Okay. Eventually, the daily active users will increase the number of time spent the number of people that spend more time on the platform. And then eventually it will increase to ad revenue if any time Facebook or WhatsApp launches ads. Okay. Now you can divide this particular metric into two parts. People who are creating the status People who are consuming the status. Now, people who are creating the status, they can also be doing two actions. People who are creating, number of people who are creating the status, and number of statuses that they are generating. And then new users who are doing this and old users who are doing this. Similarly, for status consumption, how many people are actually viewing the status tab where all the statuses come? Then how many people are engaging and how much time that they are spending? And then on the engagement, you can also go ahead and divide it into status views, replies, and reports. And maybe very recently, they have added reactions. Okay, so now you can go ahead and measure every metrics. Understand, when you communicate to the interviewer, this metric, and this metric, or maybe this metric is enough. But when they ask you to dig deeper, you can go ahead and show them the whole map. Okay, now there is one more concept, something called as the leading metric and something called as the lagging metric. Leading metric means that these things are going to happen as soon as possible. For example, whenever the user is going to create a status, this metric is going to increase. Okay, and number of statuses are going to increase. But revenue will not increase as soon as possible. It will take a cycle of revenue in order to improve the revenue. Okay, so ad revenue is a lagging metric which takes some time. And this number of users creating the statuses is a leading metric. You will know it as soon as possible it is happening. This can be measured directly. This will take some time. So as a product manager, you need to make a connection. Otherwise, what you will do is you will just keep on waiting for the lagging metric and it would be too late to take an action. Right? A quick yes on everyone if you're able to understand what is a metric tree. Yes. And guys, understand, for multiple things, okay? For this is just one example that I'm showing you. Okay. This particular thinking methodology, is called as issue trees, where you break down a problem into multiple parts, or you break down a solution into multiple parts, and you try to think visually. Okay, I will share a fantastic guide with you that will help you understand how to create these kind of issue trees. Okay, understand, right now I have already done the hard work and you are looking at this. Okay, so it might seem either very simple to you or it might seem either very difficult to you, but you have to understand how to do this. Okay, so I have created some list of resources for you. Just give me a moment. Yes, so this guide I will share with you at the end of the session, where you will be able to understand how to create these issue trees. Okay, and once you learn how to create these issue trees, most of the problem solving will become very, very easier for you. Okay, most of the problem solving will become very, very easier for you. Okay, understand, problem solving is nothing but breaking down your problem, getting the clarity, breaking down into smaller parts, and making sure that yes, you are able to go ahead and solve the constituent parts of the same. After this, we have yes. Yes. So these are the metrics kind of questions. Okay. I'll also share a few more examples with you in the notes so that you can go ahead and practice by yourself as well. Yes. Just give me a moment. Hmm. Now let's talk about the third kind of questions, which is root cause analysis. Okay. Root cause analysis are also one of the most important questions that are asked in interviews, and not only in interviews. In your life as a product manager, you are going to face these kind of questions. Okay. Questions such as engagement on Facebook newsfeed is going down. What would you do? Instagram feed impressions are down by 30%. What would you do? And here people are able to understand, do you understand the user problems? Do you have problem solving abilities? Do you have the data fluency, prioritization, business sense, and communication skills or not? Understand? Communication is always checked whenever you are in an interview. Okay. So can you guys tell me how would you answer these kind of questions? Tell me in the chat, guys, how would you answer these kind of questions? Five guys. Very good. Fishbone. Funnel analysis. Yes. Cool. To understand, these answers depend upon what is the question that has been asked to you. Okay. And it is impossible for me to tell you right now that which RCA that you are going to face and how to go ahead and answer the question. But what I can tell you is how you can structure and broaden your spectrum. Okay. So I'll give you a cheat sheet on the same. Okay. The cheat sheet is this. Another issue tree that I'm going to tell you. Okay. So whenever a metric goes up or goes down, you have to act like a detective and try to go ahead and understand what could be the reason for the same. Okay. And you have to walk your interviewer after understanding the questions, you have to walk your interviewer through these steps. Okay. So a metric can change because of multiple factors. One factor could be that it's just, let's say, a business factor. Maybe that every time in the year, we face these kind of decline. For example, if Amazon tells you that in January we face a decline in sales, what should we do? So now you'll understand that every time it happens in January. So maybe it's a normal thing for them. Yes, you can improve it, but that's a common phenomena. Why? Because the holiday season and the festival season has just ended. Okay, so there could be multiple business factors, such as some external factors, pricing changes, marketing changes. There could be technical factors, whether the implementation is done correctly or not, whether it's an infrastructure issue, whether your analytics tool are working correctly or not. Okay. There could be product factors. Have you added something? Have you changed something? Is there a update in UX or UI? Okay. And understand, guys, you cannot tell the interviewer that have you changed something in this particular time. You have to understand what they could have changed. Okay. For example, if number of comments on Facebook has decreased, then one of the feature that could lead to this decrease could be the messaging feature that they have launched. Because now, initially people used to talk on their walls by comments. Now they are able to talk through direct messages itself. Okay. So product factors could be there. Then user factors. There is some behavior shift that is happening in the users. Or maybe initially you were targeting different kind of users. Now you are targeting different kind of users. Okay. And then there could be external factors. External factors such as competitive actions, market trends, regulatory changes. Okay. Understand it's almost impossible to get to one particular answer. But what the interviewer is looking is whether you can think from that broader perspective or not. If you take this cheat sheet, this is also an example of a issue tree diagram. If you take this cheat sheet, practice across all of the questions that I have told you, that should be more than enough for you. A quick yes or no, everyone, if you're able to understand how to solve the RCA questions. Yes. Now let me go ahead. Okay. Now let me go ahead and give you one more important kind of questions. These questions are asked in consulting interviews as well, and very commonly in product leadership rounds as well, which is the strategy question, where the question looks like this. Should Google enter into health and fitness market? Would you, how would you increase the profitability of Blinkit? Why is the profile completion important for LinkedIn? Okay, these are strategic questions. Okay, and here the skills that are understood are very important. Understand here, they are not just checking common skills, they are checking for second order thinking. Whether you know that what are the effects of taking this decision, whether you can think long term or not. What are your problem solving abilities? What are your communication abilities? Do you understand data? Do you understand the particular market? And do you have the business sense? Okay. For all the leadership and strategy interviews and senior product management interviews, these questions are very, very, very good. Okay. And here also, my suggestion is that you learn three things. Okay. You learn three things. Guys, second order thinking means, are you able to think about the long term or not? Okay. If you launch a feature, immediate metrics you know, but what is going to happen in the long run? For example, with Byju's, they adopted all the policies of selling people their stuff as soon as possible. But then they understood that no, selling to people who are not our ideal customers is not a good way to go ahead and do a business. And now they are suffering. Okay. So second order thinking means, can you think long term beyond the short term things on? Okay. Now these are the three tools that will help you with strategic thinking. The number one tool is Porter's five forces. It will help you understand how to understand a market. Okay, because of lack of time, I'll not be able to help you understand what Porter's five forces are, but it's a fantastic model. And I will include a link for you so that you can understand what Porter's five forces is. It will help you understand what are the dynamics of the market, how much is the competition, whether you should get into it or not, and if you are already into that market, how you should go ahead and win in that particular market. Okay. The second framework is 3C 4P framework. 3C stands for, whenever someone gives you a question whether this company should do something or not, whenever you want to understand the various factors that affect the decisions of a company or a business, you can include the 3C 4P framework. 3C 4P stands for, okay, can someone tell me in the chat what does 3C 4P stands for? Come on, guys, tell me in the chat what does 3C 4P stands for. I'm sure there are some MBA students in the chat as well. Yes. So 3C 4P. 3C stands for customer, company, and competition. And 4P stands for product, place, price, and promotion. Okay. Now, if you go ahead and understand a company strategy from these particular perspective, you should be able to understand whether a company should take this move or not. I'll give you an example in just a moment. Okay. And the third framework that you need to understand is issue trees. I cannot recommend this enough. If you want to become a better thinker, just remember two frameworks. The number one framework is your ability to focus and understand that creativity faucet that I've told you. That rather than jumping to the obvious solution, go deeper. And the second is issue trees. Try to visualize your thinking. Try to create as much mind maps as possible. Okay. Now, for all of these, I have created some links for you. Okay. For all of these, I have created some links for you. All the frameworks are present over here. You can, and they are written from a perspective of a product manager. So you will find some interesting resources over here that will be shared with you after the session. Okay. Now let me tell you some particular cases that are asked. Okay. Let me give you some examples. Okay. Yes. Let me give you some examples. The first example is profitability cases. Let's say someone tells you, how would you increase the profit for this company? No matter what the company is, you can break down the problem into multiple parts. Let's say profit means revenue minus cost. You can either reduce the cost or you can increase the revenue. How can you increase the revenue? There are two ways. Either you can increase the number of customers, or you can increase the number of dollars that each customers pay you. And then you can get repeat buys, or either you can get users to buy more from you by putting features such as recommendations and all and upselling, or you can increase the pricing. Right? Similarly, if you want to increase the number of users, either you can focus on the marketing, which is increasing the traffic to your website or increasing the number of app downloads, or you can focus on increasing the conversion. Okay. And for these, you understand you can have different kind of product, different kind of ideas to build all of these metrics. Right? Eventually, to drive the cost, you understand there are some cost on marketing, some cost on operations, some cost on product development. Okay. So something that was very vague, that how would Blinkit improve its profit? From very vague, if you create this particular chart, you will be able to understand how can I go ahead and improve the profitability of this company. Guys, ARPU means average revenue per user. Okay, so if you just understand how to break down a problem into small parts, most of the questions would be solved. Right? Now let me go ahead and give you another case, which is whether we should enter a market or not. We can take the same approach. Should we enter a market? Depends upon multiple factors. One of the factor is what is the market size and growth? Is this market growing? What is the current size of the market? Okay. The second could be alignment and potential share. Whether the company, let's say if Google is trying to enter into fitness industry, do they even align? And how much potential share they can go ahead and get? Okay. And simply required investment. Do you even have the capability to go ahead and take that particular call on? Okay. And if you understand these things, you should be able to take any biggest company in the world and you should be able to diagnose their strategy to either enter or not enter a market. Okay. So understand, guys, people who are at the top who are building these companies, it's not true that they might be necessarily more intelligent than you, they have more brain power than you, but they have more structures, they have more information than you. Okay. So should we enter a market or not? Depends upon the size of the market and how well is the market growing. Sometimes it is possible that right now the market is very small, but now it is going to grow. For example, when CoinDesk was created in around 2012-13, the crypto market was very small, but now it has grown to a particular extent. When Zomato acquired Blinkit, the quick commerce market was very small, but now it has grown. So it does not only depend what is the current size of the market, but also what is the potential to grow. Similarly, alignment and potential share. Let's say, understand about Zomato's acquisition of Blinkit. Zomato already had some strengths that made it a very good acquisition, which made it a very good match. For example, they had a lot of people who were on the ground. They had connection with most of the local partners. And they already have a product where a lot of people are coming as users. Now they got the whole supply chain of Blinkit, and now they are creating a very interesting company and opening up opportunities for both the companies out there. Okay. And then required investment, whether you have money or not. Zomato had this money that they have made from investors and public investors like us. Right? So these are some of the things out there. So what we have done is just taken a very commonsensical vague problem, and then we have broken down into steps, and now we have one structure to solve this problem. Right? And now, same thing here. Should we acquire this company? So this we talked about whether, let's say, someone should enter into quick commerce or something else or not. Here we can talk about whether we should acquire a company or not. Okay. And here, whenever you acquire a company, there are multiple factors that you need to take care of. First is, what is the value of the company? The value of the company depends upon what is the current valuation and what is the potential of growth. When Instagram was created, when Instagram was acquired by Facebook, it did not have a very good current valuation. It was a very tiny company with less than, let's say, 20, 30 people. WhatsApp was a company with maybe 80 people, but the pace at which it was growing was humongous. Okay, so valuation and growth both should be good and positive. Second is fitment, whether it fits with the alignment of the current company or not. For example, when Facebook acquired Instagram, it was more of a threat. If Facebook did not acquire Instagram, and if Google happened to do so or Apple happened to do so, or maybe Instagram was able to grow, it might take the user base from Facebook to Instagram, and which has already happened. Can you guys tell me what was the last time when you used Facebook? Tell me the year in which you have used Facebook for the last time. Yes. Cool. Now tell me, guys, when have you used Instagram for the last time? I'm sure many people are like having Instagram on their phones open right now. Yes. So this acquisition made sure that yes, they were able to. So Instagram was more of a threat for Facebook. Okay. It also opened the new market for photo and video based sharing. And then this is also one problem. Okay. How does it integrates with your particular product? Okay. After this, yes. After this, the cost has to be determined. Okay, which is what is the price for that company? If the company cannot pay the price for the company that is being trying to acquire, then it cannot happen. Okay, you should have the budget. And the last part is integration cost, which is the major reason why many acquisitions fail. We remember Nokia and Microsoft. It was not a good merger or acquisition. Why? Because they were not able to integrate the product well. Okay, so integration cost is also something that need to be taken care of. Zomato and Blinkit were able to connect seamlessly. Facebook was able to soak Instagram within its ecosystem very quickly from the advertisers network. Okay, but other players are not able to do it. So many acquisitions fail either because they did some mistake in calculating the growth, or they do some mistake in underestimating the integration cost. Okay, and guys, the answer for all of these questions was actually an issue tree. So if you understand how to create issue trees, most of your problems are solved. Okay. Yes. Everyone on a scale of 1 to 5, if you're able to understand everything so far. We have done product sense, metrics, RCS, and strategy questions. Understood. Now let's talk about these questions. So whether you are doing an interview for a product manager or a growth manager or a business analyst, or you are interviewing for any position, these questions are very common. So behavioral questions are: introduce yourself. How do you influence people who don't report to you? How do you enable cross-functional collaboration? Because you have to do it as a product manager. A situation when you have to deal with a difficult person. Okay, guys, these things, no one can tell you how to answer this question. Okay, because the content has always needs to be your own story. Okay, so how do you answer the question? For these questions, whenever someone is asking you this question, they are looking to understand whether you have the cross-functional collaboration skills as well, whether you have leadership skills as well, or whether you can go ahead and do stakeholder management or not. Okay. Although I cannot tell you the exact answer, but I can give you some best practices. Okay. So, first of all, make sure that you start with a takeaway. Takeaway as in, if they ask you a question that how did you enable cross-functional stakeholder collaboration? So, you can say that yes, bringing people on the same page is something that I've learned, and then you can go ahead and tell your story. Okay, so what you learned from that story, people are not interested in your stories. They are interested in what you learned from that story and how you can make the use of that knowledge for your next company. Okay, The second thing is communicate in a structured manner. Be prepared. Understand, guys? These questions that I'm giving you, these are most common questions. I have seen people who fumble while introducing yourself. Guys, understand these questions. If you know that these are going to be 100% asked in an interview, why don't you prepare for them in advance? You should have good scripts for these questions. Okay. Always remember in an interview, you do not rise to the level of occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation. Okay. You do not rise to the level of the occasion. You always fall to the level of your preparation. So it is mandatory to be prepared with these answers in written so that you are using the best words that you can. Okay. Then another important part. Never badmouth, look at the bigger picture. Never ever bad. I have a friend who is a CPO at a company, and to every person that he hires or he tries to hire, he asks them a question. The question is, what is it that you did not like about your manager? And then some people they go into emotion and they go ahead and maybe open up in front of them. Okay. And then you understand why it is not a good habit to have. Okay. So please never ever badmouth. Even if you are facing the challenging stakeholders, always focus on what you learned from that scenario and how you are a better individual because of that particular scenario. Okay. Please look at the bigger picture. Bigger picture as in the business and the customers. Okay. Always show that you do not repeat mistakes. If someone asks you that what is your biggest mistake or what are some mistakes that you have done in your last job or what are the challenges that you have faced. So you always have to articulate in such a way that you are very less likely to repeat the mistakes and you have learned from that particular thing. Okay. And then be specific and highly highlight your contribution. Now, we are taught to be humble and modest. But understand, guys, interview is the last place where you need to be humble and modest. Okay. Make sure that whatever you have contributed in the team, you are also able to not only highlight the contribution of your team, but exactly what did you do? You is the major important part. They are hiring you, not your team. So you have to keep a balance between being modest and then underselling yourself. Okay. So if you remember these five things, most of the behavioral answers are going to go in the right direction. I will also recommend you three things. Okay. Three notes I'm going to send you. First is read about Amazon's 16 leadership principle. If you read about this, most of the behavioral questions will come to you. Also, read about how to win friends and influence people. If you learn about this, you should be able to understand how to generally talk to people, how to generally go ahead and be good with people. Okay, how to understand their motivation. And the last part is Radical Condor, which is a book about giving the critical feedback. Many people do not know how to give critical feedback. Okay, that's a disaster that you are doing to your career. Okay, understand the team is not a family. The team is a sports team. How do you make sure that the team is able to have the right kind of players is very important. Okay, so how do you lead the people? This is something that you need to do. Okay, so this is about behavioral questions. Everyone on a scale of 1 to 5, if you are able to understand about the behavioral questions and the common mistakes and what you should avoid. Cool. So now, guys, what I'll do is I will take maybe some more minutes and then I'll tell you about the technical questions. And after that, I'll share the feedback from you. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and tell you one part, okay, which is, let's say, many people are afraid of this, which is technical questions. How many people are there in the session who are coming from a non-tech background? Tell me yes or no in the chat if you are from a non-tech background. Write non-tech in the chat. Write non-tech in the chat if you are coming from a non-tech background. Non-tech, wonderful. Okay. So, guys, understand. Let me tell you a truth. Okay. No matter from you are from a non-tech background or from a tech background, tech is not your strength as a product manager. Okay. Technology is not your strength as a product manager. Customer empathy and business sense is. So don't think that if you're a good developer, you can make a good product manager. It might be possible, but it does not depend on whether you are a good developer or not. Okay. So technical skills are different than business and customer skills. Okay. You should understand, you should understand that as a product manager, no matter what kind of company that you are working in, maybe technology is not your strength, but you should not be illiterate in technology. There are some common things that you should learn, which I'm going to tell you today. Okay. Before that, let's understand why it is important for any product manager to learn tech. Okay. Why it is important for any product manager to learn tech. Okay. There are four reasons. First of all, you need to understand how your product works. You need to understand how to collaborate with developers. You need to be curious to learn to solve problem, because your understanding of tech also tells other people whether you are curious enough or not. Okay. And then you need to help your non-tech stakeholders, which is no matter how technical you are a product manager, your tech team will always think that you are a non-tech person. And no matter how non-technical you are a product manager, your sales and marketing team will always come to you with the technical doubts. So you need to make sure that you are able to communicate to them as well. You need to understand the technical concepts and give them in a very clear way to the non-tech people. Explain them in a very fundamental way. Okay. And the skills that they are assessing are cross-functional skills, basics of tech, and problem solving. Okay. Based on that, we have five kind of questions that are asked in technical interviews. Based on this, we have five kind of questions that are asked in any technical product management interview round. Now, the first kind of questions are common tech terminology. You should be knowing basic things. APIs, CDN, how YouTube works, why cache is faster. These are common things that everyone should learn. This is the basics of tech. Now, if you guys want to learn the basics of tech, I have a complete playlist on tech for PMs. It's a free playlist that you can find on YouTube. I will also share the session, the link after the session. Okay. After that, I'll go ahead and share this with you. So understand, spend about 2-3 weeks in order to understand at least the basics of tech. Okay. That session, those sessions are completely free. I have created them 3 years ago. Still to this date, they are very, very relevant. Okay. Is there anyone in the chat who has gone through that playlist? Who is aware about that playlist, Technology for Product Managers? Yes or no in the chat? Yes. Yes. So that's the only tech playlist on YouTube that is created from the perspective of a product manager. So please go through it. I'll also share it with you in the resources. Okay. The second part is experience and role specific. These are most important questions. Experience and role specific. So what you should do is, once you've understood the basics, make sure that you read your resume well. If you have mentioned any technical term, 100% be sure that you know about this term. Okay. Second is, read the job description well. Read the job description and try to understand what is it, what are the technologies that they are using, so that you can be aware about those technology. Let's say someone mentions the product manager that we are hiring should be having SQL skills. So make sure that you are reading about them, learning about it. Okay. Understand the company's technical stack. So every company has a separate tech stack. You need to understand what the tech stack is. Okay. So there is a website called as stackshare.io where you can check the stacks of particular companies. Okay, let's say Uber is using Python, jQuery, these kind of things. So at least you can be aware about the basic things. You should know what technologies they are using. In case the company is not popular, it's not available on Stackshare, what you can do is go to the job description of that company go to the job site of that company, LinkedIn profile of that company, and see the job description for technical people, for developers, for senior developers, junior developers, for engineering managers. They will be mentioning the tech stack over there so that you can be aware about the same. Okay, it's a hack that you can use, right? Then whatever experience that you have, and in the end, let's say if you did not have any experience with tech, you know about tech, but in the past company you did not have used any kind of tech because your role was not so. So it is my recommendation that build some side projects. Side projects as in ask ChatGPT that I want to showcase my understanding of API. What is the side project that I can do? And then it will tell you the side project. Then you can follow the instruction in order to do the side project. Okay. So this is the most important part. Most of the questions on tech are from this particular part. Understand? You cannot learn every tech in the world, but you should be aware about the tech that is relevant in this particular case, which is the tech of the company and the tech that you have written in the interview. Okay. The third kind of questions are stakeholders, which is how do you get estimates from engineers? How do you prioritize a product roadmap? How do you address tech sprints? For this, what you need to do is just remember the behavioral skills that I've told you, the behavioral resources, plus understand the product development life cycle well. Okay, understand the product development life cycle well. Okay, and after this, we have these questions. These are also very common, which is explain to a kid or a grandma because you need to understand the technical concept and you need to explain it to a non-tech person. You need to be good with this. So people can ask you questions like, how would you explain a database to a kid? How did you explain API to your grandma? Okay. In layman terms, help me understand how a payment gateway works. Okay. These are the questions that you need to understand how to answer. So the first step to answer these questions is this. You should first have your own understanding. And the second thing is you should use analogies. So if I have to explain you an API, I will take an example of restaurant. As in, when you go in a restaurant, you are ordering something. So you are giving a request. The waiter takes the order. They are taking the request. And then they transfer the request from you to the chef who is going to build that particular thing. They are going to build that particular dish. So this is how I can explain an API, that the chef is the API provider, you are the API consumer, and the waiter is the API in between. Okay. So this is explain for kid or grandma. Just understand, I'll also share some resources with you so that you can get some common answers for the question. But understand, interview is all about thinking on the field. So you might be also getting a surprise there. So you should understand how to draw these analogies. Okay. And the last part is problem solving, which again is a skill of product sense, strategy, and issue trees, where people can ask you questions. How would you improve the speed of a website? How would you measure the performance of an API? Write algorithm to calculate estimated time to arrive at Swiggy. This tests your ability to think on the feet, right? So guys, my question to you is, how would you improve the speed of a website? Tell me in the chat, how would you answer this question? Take 1 minute. Tell me guys, how would you improve the speed of the website? Scaling, reduce the load. Hmm. Yes. Everyone played the same game, jumping to solutions. Jumping to solutions. Guys, I did not talk about is the website Wikipedia or it is Netflix or it is Zoom or it is what, right? If it's a website such as Netflix, then are we talking about the whole website or a particular page? The billing page can be improved by working on the payment gateways. The video page can be improved by reducing the size of the video. The home page can be improved by reducing the size of images or putting them in cache, right? But you have to first understand the question. You are again making the same mistake. Right. Correct. So this is how you answer the tech question. Okay. Although I have told you in the brief, but guys understand, for every 1 minute that I have given you in this session, you have to invest almost 100 minutes in order to go ahead and do the practice of your own. Okay. So now, guys, we have covered, yes, now we have covered all the types of questions. We have covered all the types of questions. Everyone, tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 if you are able to understand how to answer all of these questions. Everyone, please go ahead in the chat. Okay. Tell me more confident or less confident in the chat if you feel that now you are more confident or less confident about cracking the PM interviews. Yes. Yes, guys. But understand the most important thing. Okay. Now understand the most important thing. Whatever I have given you today is just a piece of information. Okay. It is just a piece of information. Okay. What you need is not information. What you need is knowledge so that you are able to think on the feet. And no matter what kind of question and what kind of company is thrown to you, you should be able to answer that question, because product management is all about converting the vague or chaos into clarity. So, in order to convert the information into knowledge, you need practice plus reflection. Now you have to take action. Now you have to take action. How do you convert this information into knowledge? Okay. So, this is what I'm going to recommend you, how you should practice. Okay. First is, I will share with you a lot of resources. Please go ahead, watch the resources. Make sure that you are going through all the resources well in time. Okay, it should take you 2-3 weeks in order to complete all the resources along with the deck. Okay. The second thing is, pick questions. I'll also share with you a large list of questions which you can see. Let me show it to you. So this is a long list of questions from Lewis Lynn's PM community that will help you out. Okay. Now, after that, what you should do is, you can also pick questions for a particular company that you are interviewing or interested in. Okay. You can also take multiple options such as Glassdoor, Ambition Box, Lewis Lynn, Blind. There are multiple resources for the same. After that, record yourself answering. This is the most important step. This is the cringiest, most, I would say, most difficult, but most important. Pick up some questions and record yourself either on Zoom or this wonderful software called Descript while you are giving the answer for the question, so that you know that you are following all the steps. Okay. And then get it reviewed. Review it by yourself, or just take the transcript and then get it reviewed by DeepSeek, ChatGPT, or Claude. If you're recording on Zoom, Zoom will give you the transcript, or you can upload it on YouTube as private video and then you can get the transcript. Or there are multiple, let's say there are multiple software such as Descript, which will allow you to record and they will also get you the transcript. Once you get the transcript, give it to DeepSeek, ChatGPT, or Claude, any of these things, and then you can ask it a question that this is a question, this is my answer. How would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? It will give you 7 or 8 and it will give you the suggestions. Plus, you should also ask him in the next prompt that please go ahead and tell me what are the other ways to answer this question. Okay, this is how you should improve. And the last part is find a buddy. So I'm also going to float a form in the WhatsApp group so that if someone is looking to find interview partners with this particular knowledge, they should be able to connect with each other. Okay, so this is the ways in which you need to find a buddy. Okay, now people who need to find a buddy, They can put a post on LinkedIn that I am looking for, let's say I have attended this particular session, like mention this particular session, post it on LinkedIn, and then you can go ahead and tag me or Hello PM. We should be able to make sure that we are giving you enough reach by liking or commenting so that you can find some more people, even from the same session. Okay. What I'll also do is, remember, listen to this carefully. What I'll also do is, I will put a post on LinkedIn. Under that post, you guys can go ahead and comment whether you are looking for interview partners. And then you can go ahead and pair up with each other. Cool. Yes. So, guys, now we are almost done with the session. I'll take a couple of more minutes in order to tell you what we do at Hello PM so that you are able to understand if we can help you out, then what could be the methods. Okay. In what ways we can go ahead and help you out. Okay. So at Hello PM, we run this 15-week live program where we help you understand not only about the interviews. Interview is an afterthought. Okay. You only give better interviews if you know how to do product management. Okay. We help you understand all the fundamental pillars of product management, which is product thinking, user and market research, product growth, product operations and execution, analytics, and tech for product managers. Okay. We also have a bigger program on technology for product managers. People who are non-tech, if they want to understand life from us, they can join that program. And that program is available separately also. And that program is also a part of our bigger program as well, complement. Okay. Now we also cover multiple case studies and we also cover multiple tools so that you are better as a product manager. Understand? Our purpose at HelloPM is not to just prepare you for interviews. We have to make sure that you are able to operate as a good product manager. So, skills before the interviews. Okay. And these are few things that we offer you. So, this is the structure of the curriculum that we offer you. Plus, very recently, we have introduced two new modules, which is AI for product managers and UX UI for product managers. These are bonus modules and are given to everyone who complete all the assignments in the program. Okay, so it's a hands-on program where you not only learn product management from people who are leaders at multiple companies, but you also get to practice because without practice, you cannot do product management. So we give you a lot of assignments. And then you also get a network of like-minded people and people who are already product managers. Okay, so this is about it, guys. If you want more information of the program, you can just simply go to hellopm.co. This is the major program. All the FAQs are mentioned over here. Some people might have question as in how it is different from others, so we have mentioned it on the website as well. Please go through the curriculum before you enroll in the program. Please go through the curriculum. That's the most important part. And if you're interested in tech for product managers, that is also a program that is here. And it is also available complimentary as a part of the bigger program as well. Okay, so just go to HelloPM and then your queries would be answered. Now, guys, I will just go ahead and share the feedback form with you. Yes. Guys, I've gone ahead and shared the feedback form with each one of you. Please go ahead and fill the feedback form. Once you fill the feedback form, our team should be able to send you all the resources. Okay. Please write done in the chat once you're done with the feedback form, please. And if you want more information about HelloPM, it's simple. You can just go to the website hellopm.co and then you should be able to get it. Okay. And we have batches for US folks and India folks as well. So no matter which kind of geography that you are in, you should be able to find a time where we are conducting live batches from you. The feedback form link has been shared in the chat. Please go ahead and fill the feedback form. Yes. And guys, one more thing that if you enjoyed the session, make sure that you go ahead and talk about it on LinkedIn. It will help us reach more people and help more people like you. Yes. Also, Some people might have questions about this session after this session that they might be confused somewhere. Although I have tried to make sure that all the frequently answered question I have answered. But what we do is after every 2, 3, 4 weeks, we conduct something which is called as a product management masterclass. So we are going to conduct it around 14th or 15th of February. So we'll invite you folks as well. You can join that as well. Where what we do is we have, let's say, 1.5 hour only for question and answers. So if there are any questions that you might have that are not answered, you can still go ahead and join that particular session. Okay, cool, cool. Everyone, please fill the feedback form. If you don't fill the feedback form, it would be difficult for us to send you the content. Yes. Take home assignment is a product sense case study, guys. Take home assignment is nothing but a product sense case study, which you need to solve in the same manner. Cool, guys. Thanks a lot. You have been a great audience. And if you guys have any issues, any problems, any suggestions that you have, feel free to send us an email to info@hellopm.co. You are also a part of that WhatsApp group. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Bye. Take care. We'll see each other very soon. Take care. Bye. Thank you, guys. Bye. You'll get all the content on your emails. Okay. Make sure that you also check this back. Thank you, guys. Bye. Take care. You have been a lovely audience. Best of luck for your next interview. Thank you, guys. Take care.